злата, ой, люли белые злата, ой, люли белые злата.
Good morning, Tartarian hunters. So Campbell and I are just jumping on because we've just had a fantastic conversation following up on the idea of electricity, Tartaria, love, ascension, and what all that means, and how Venus plays a role in all of that. So we've just got to start from where we were talking, Campbell, which was we started with the premise that what if electricity is love? And what does that mean? So tell me, what does that mean to you?
Gosh, we should have hit record, but so
half an hour ago.
yeah, love, energy. So what we were talking about is in this, realm we're taught it's all about polarities, right? Positive and negative, and this is what electricity is. But maybe we're missing the point. Maybe we are the electricity. We're the frequency, whatever you want to call, right? Modulators. And the frequency we're looking for is actually love. And that is what will activate, the natural earth grid, right? The natural Gaia grid, rather than this, AI grid that's been laid over the top, where everyone thinks it's about power and positive and negative and all this kind of stuff. And of course we have El is Elohim, the gods, God. And of course we're told God is love. And that all connects up to, I'll let you talk about Venus. I mean, I'll probably jump the gun a bit there, but into Venus, but it goes back to this this idea of circuit board cities, right? Which Michelle Gibson's done a lot of work on. Circuit board cities, what was running them? What was running the energy system? Were we more of the power than we realize? We the ones that modulated that frequency, or that were the spark generators, whatever, and it was up to us to hold that frequency, and that made everything run well. And as soon as we lost that frequency and people said, hey, your neighbor's trying to steal your cow, and we went, oh, polarity, it all stopped. The grid broke down. And I
mean, let's look at it from the Tartarian lens. Like, we all know that everything that represents Tartaria at the foundational point is electricity. We know that the civilization, the buildings, the technology, it was all lit up. It was literally lit up. They had power on everything. Everything was illuminated. Everything was lit up with electricity. And we know that electricity was from the ether. It was free. And then suddenly there was some sort of event, and it affected our sun. The last E. Warren on episode talks about how the sun has been affected and moved and changed. So it's no longer a perfect clock that we would expect in this perfect creation of ours, this flat realm, this firmament. And we literally returned into the dark ages. We lost our notion of being illuminated. We were literally reset, our memories wiped, our culture destroyed, any idea of who we were, where we came from, what we were doing here, all gone. We were put into the dark. We were literally taught we were flying around in dark space, all about this fall from the light. And so here we are, re-understanding and getting closer and closer to this Tartarian consciousness, which I am making the leap that it is connected to Venus, and that this idea of Venus, and isn't it interesting that we never hear about Venus, we never talk about Venus and the Venetians and the Phoenicians, but we never hear about Venus. Now, Venus was classically, through our mythology, it's Aphrodite, it's the land of love, it represents love. Now, if we look at love being a literal version of electricity, and they have essentially polarized us and done everything in their power to deny the love. They've done everything in their power to toxically poison us, put us into polarization, into stress, into fatigue, into all of these paradigms of fear paradigms. We don't have to talk about this. Everyone knows, right?
Vision, yeah, polarities.
So they polarize us. So we're told we live in a polarized realm, that it's negative or positive, light or dark, up or down, left or right. It's just masculine or feminine. It's extremely polarized. But when you look at the idea, when you are in a relationship and you have a fight with your other and you're polarized, you'll get to a point where that masculine and feminine energy can't even hear each other. You can't fucking even hear each other. You're so polarized. And the only way to release that is to start surrendering. The masculine's got to surrender to the divine feminine. You got to surrender. You got to surrender. As you do that, you move into the heart. You move into the heart. You release the charge. You're in the heart, which gives us, Cambell, a third concept of what of electricity, of an energy, a third concept of an energy.
Yeah, and this comes into free energy. You know, all the grid we've got now, that the AI grid that's been laid over is all about polarities, right? Positive, negative. But all the free energy systems have a third wiring. They have a third wiring, I think it's called. And most of the time it's not even connected to anything. It's just connected into the system and hanging out into the atmosphere. And that changes everything. That's how the rodent coil works. It's got three windings, and that accesses free energy, right? So what is free energy, right? It seems like it's that the joining together of the polarities, right? We're told everything is yin yang and opposite and all this kind of stuff, but maybe that's a big lie, and it's all about us, you know, joining those polarities and becoming the middle, which is also like the Vesica Pisces, right? You have the two fields, and when they join in the middle, you get the third, which is the Vesica Pisces, and we've got that symbolism everywhere. And then we talk about chakras, right, and colors, because the spectrum, you shine light through a prism, and you break it up, you get 7 colors, and of course we have 7 seals, 7 chakras, 7s everywhere, 7 days of the week, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Yep.
But what happens when you reverse that? It goes back to joining and being white.
Yes,
white
when
light.
all those rainbow colors together, they become white light.
White light. And what are we told? Become enlightened, right? Shine your white light. Everything good that we're told is good and love is white light.
Yes.
To the point where Jesus and other people have halos above their head. That is representing their crown chakra, which
they're illuminated.
Yeah, that's the white light. They're balanced. They're balanced.
So when our Indigenous are coming together, they talk about the rainbow bridge. They talk about the dream time, the rainbow dream time. And that rainbow bridge is in all of us, right? So when we look at this polarized version that we've been sold, and then we look at our Tartarian consciousness and the ether, and we know that the ether is what operated their whole civilization. Like, they were nourished by it. They didn't need to eat. So today we have the breatharians, but then they must have connected to this concept of love and light so that they can feed. Their electrical grid is now aligned with the ether. And so they're nurtured and nourished by it. And we've got a whole civilization, a whole beautiful, gigantic, symmetrical civilization that literally, it's all dedicated. It's all the one big dedication to a grid that isn't polarized, to a grid that uses free energy, that's beautiful and symmetrical and perfectly in harmony and balance. And yet, so we live currently on a realm that's completely polarized, where we're completely and utterly in that state of constant polarization. And what happens when you have a fight with your beloved and you're polarized, and you go through that fight and you hold that charge, and your polarization's been triggered, you hold that charge, and it's really intense until you start surrendering and come back. In that surrendering and coming back, you move into your heart, but that electrical charge is still there, and you want to fuck, like to put it but that electrical charge is there. You see that metaphor all the time when people talk about relationships, fighting and fucking, and we do that on this realm on a macro level all the time. Or the other thing is, we hold that charge so polarized, and we never surrender to it. We never go back into the heart, and it completely drains our battery. It depletes us and exhausts us, and we become limp. So it's like it's the opposite of being turned on. It's being turned off. So we live in a culture that's literally being turned off.
Yeah.
And I
was just going to say, for a lot of people, the only way they know to get to that midpoint, that energy, that, the love, or, is to fight first.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they've ever got there.
Yeah.
And so that can also just be a cause of a lot of fighting, habitual fighting, right? And that's why some people, you talk to them and they say, oh yeah, I love love it when we have a bit of a fight. Well, they don't. They love what comes afterwards is
Yeah,
what they
the
love.
charge,
And
the
the
charge.
anticipation.
Mhm.
So are we getting this all wrong, right? Is this all about, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, we're more just supposed to come together. And that's how we get that, rather than, sort of rah and sort of creating the friction first. We can just stand in that, right, and live in that power, re-energize the grid. Because what we're talking about is, there's a natural Gaia grid, which is the Tartarian grid, if you want to call it that, the old world buildings, the star forts, all that stuff. Clearly it's a grid. But then clearly another grid's been laid over the top, right?
Yeah,
AI,
false grid.
bloody portable mobile phones, all this stuff, all this tech, right? Which is all run by what? Again, it's all run by electricity, power. And this, when you look at the verbiage and the words, it's all about power, right? Elections, you go to the polling booth between the two poles, right? The positive and negative. You elect someone to power. And this is what happened. They stole the power of the old world, literally. Turned off the lights, put us in the dark. And
in space. Dark space.
Yeah, floating around, not knowing what's going on, twisting and turning.
Yep.
And just fighting, right? Thinking that's the way out, is everything's good or bad. And that's such a deep ingrained, thought, isn't it? And belief, even through all the religions.
Yep.
It's always good and bad, God and the devil. And when people come out and they say, well, maybe it's not that way. Maybe, the devil isn't bad per se. Maybe it's just another expression. They get called Satanists and stuff.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah.
There must be some evil in this world. I love God so much, there must be evil. I mean,
polarized.
Exactly. We haven't even thought about what we're doing, I think. And this is the Great Awakening, right? We can start to see all this stuff, all these habits that we had that really, it's hilarious when you look at it now, right? It's just like we're in a comedy movie.
We're in a tragic comedy movie. Not even like Monty Python brilliant. It's just like
it's just kind of B grade with the odd good laugh,
we are making it Monty Python brilliant, because when you add Tartaria consciousness, which means ultimately, like, you guys are all from Tartaria. Like, you wouldn't even fucking see it. You wouldn't even be attracted to even looking at it if you were not associated that way. So with Tartaria, we can see the true version, the version that shows us, and we've got evidence all around this realm still, because now we can see it, the version that shows us that there was another form of electricity, and that electricity wasn't polarized. In fact, it was a coming together of the two polarized versions, the two polarized natures, that formed this ether and allowed this high old gods of renown, that energy of the whole old gods of renown to shine through. That, and then when they literally hijacked that, I truly believe they did that. The sun is really fundamental and important here. The return of the Son of Man, you always put that down to a Christian analogy, but like, I feel like it's quite literal. Like, when the Great Reset happened the last 300 years ago, we know it affected our sun. We know the sun moved. We know that there was a change in the way that the sun moved across the realm, and it affected our version of time. It affected our seasons. It affected our whole version of reality. It did something massive. And when we talk about electricity, Cambell, and love being that coming together, that sort of the middle point of polarization where you've surrendered, in that moment, we have the ability to create a new electrical grid or a new electrical charge. And when we come together, enough of us as batteries, as conductors, then that electrical grid's going to be activated, literally, and it's going to affect the sun. And I think we're going to have a solar flash or a solar flare or a pulse from the sun, which knocks out all the false circuitry from the false AI nefarious force, which then puts them into the dark ages and illuminates us back into the free energy and the energetic realm of Tartarian consciousness, the 5D realm, which, FYI, I think is connected to Venus.
Yes. And yeah, also the sun, right? The son of God, the sun.
The sun.
I mean, for as long as I can remember, I've known that's what it's the same thing, right? It's just the Bible trying to tell you it's different. I'm not saying that Jesus didn't exist or anything, but he's saying that he's, when he says he's the way and the light, and then he's the sun. There's a lot of talk, right, about the sun being a portal.
Yes.
And about us being stuck in here on a loop, a reincarnation loop.
Yep.
So when the energy changed, if the sun changed, did that portal shut? So we can no longer get through it. And this is why, we have this saying, a lot of Christians, is the only way to heaven is through me, right? Through the sun. You got to go through the sun to get out of here.
Yeah. So
is this also going to do that? Is this going to break the reincarnation loop and open up gateways to different things? Because, we're in an enclosed system, and it can be looked at as, like a cathode and anode, right? The sun and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine if that's your system, if you don't know what that is, go check out some Bernie videos. But if you change the input, if you change the frequency, the whole experiment goes bad. And what happens when the frequency is right? You start creating things like monoatomic gold and ormus out of the ether. Apparently, it just kind of appears.
Food of the gods.
Food of the gods, just like when they were walking through the desert and they had the ark, right? The ark of the covenant.
The ark. Let's talk about arks. Hello, Noah and his amazing ark that saved the bloodline of the human race. The ark of the ark of the covenant. And of course, the arcs in all of the Tartarian.
Joan of Arc.
But
also think about the shape of an arc, right? Like an arc it's a shape as well, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how they travel. Like it's an arc. So Noah's ark, right? He went from the old world to the new world, right? Yeah. Are we talking about some energy here rather than,
the rainbow is in an arc. The rainbow bridge is an arc. And in Tartaria, all of the giant arcs that we see all the way around the world, those huge, extraordinary
what do they frame?
Yeah. They were like mega battery, megas.
And they frame the sun.
Yep. And then of course we've got and if they put us into the dark ages, literally by changing our sun, by affecting our sun, that makes so much sense, because the satanic fucking nefarious force, they worship the sun. They are a religion of the sun. They are sun worshippers. They literally know that sun is the key to their whole life force, their whole success, their whole reign is to do with that sun.
Exactly right. But is that sun our sun? Are they focusing so much on it to hold it in that frequency that empowers them? Right? And that's all we need to do is stop believing their crap about polarity, and that everything is yin and yang and everything, and maybe just everything is good. Let's go to love, right?
Well, if we look, so obviously we hear about love and light all the way through any spiritual quest anyone goes on for their whole life. You'll have heard love and light, but we haven't actually literally used the word electricity and love, equaling love and light. And I think the Tartarian world really homes that in for us, that notion of love is somehow the conductor or the activator for a new electrical grid that is one of light, real light of the ether, and that it's free and empowering and creates giant beings of us, which built these giant buildings of ours, which, created these gigantic, beautiful realms that we once lived in. And then you've got the Christian notion where they've really homed, they use the Son of God all the time, but they've used S-O-N when it's probably S-U-N. It's all the way through the Christian religion is probably the opposite version of the satanic version of the sun worshipping, except they think they're worshipping the Son of God, Jesus.
Yeah, and it's because, when you keep the sun in the right frequency, then everything's good. Then you do experience heaven on earth, right? The glory of God, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, guys, I think we just need to focus on frequencies and form groups as well, because we know that two people together have more power than two separate people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely about making physical groups and getting together and being in that space. And Tartaria, I was just thinking, like you get on a Tartaria live stream or a premiere and check out the comments. It's just all love. It's all it is. You go on other live streams, you don't see that. You just don't see it. And people come on our live streams and they're like, wow, what's going on here? Oh my God, you people are amazing. So it's definitely tied, we're definitely tied to that frequency.
Yep. Yeah.
We definitely are. So I think there's a big thing there.
So where is
Connection
fucking
from
Venus?
Kelly.
Where's Venus in all of this? Like Venus in our mythology represents Aphrodite, represent love, but we never ever hear of Venus. We never hear about it. We hear about the Palladians, the Lyrans, and the Acturians. We hear about all these other like planetary bodies. We hear all about these other like versions, but never the Venetians.
And what's Venus? What are we told Venus is closest to? The sun.
The sun.
Right.
And Cambell, tell me about the flower of life you were just saying.
Flower
I've
of
never
life.
heard of that.
So yeah, on a flat Earth map, when you track the movements of Venus over a year, it actually makes, I'm pretty sure it's the flower of life. If not exact, it's very close. So I'll find the footage and I'll whack it in here. But yeah, so it literally, the flower of life, right? That represents love and harmony and things working properly. And that's the shape that Venus makes. And it's sitting next to the sun. Then we have Venus, Venetians, Phoenicians, who are clearly, we're not saying they're good, right? They've taken over and switched everything, as we know, inverted everything. And so they're now worshipping the false sun. And then, we have this whole narrative of the black sun, right? The second sun, not the vril, what's it called? Like the Thule worship the black sun as well.
Yeah.
Black hole sun, right? Soundgarden.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the sun with your eyes open, it will eventually form a black sun. It will turn to a black sun. I used to do that every morning at the farm. Yeah.
You can do it in the morning. Don't do it during the day.
Yeah.
Only when your shadow is longer than your body.
Oh, I didn't know that. But like I used to do it when the sun was coming up. I'd watch it as the sun was coming up. And then the more I watched it, all these colors would emanate. The rainbow bridge would emanate from the sun. And then eventually that sun would have a big black center. It would go black. That's what I would witness every day with my own eyes.
Yep.
And then
I've seen it too, definitely. Yeah.
And we look at how relevant this is to, okay, so we all know, we hear all the time that we are their battery force, that they've been using us as loosh. They use it as loosh, they take our energy and it's their battery, but the energy that they feed off is our fear, right? So if you look at, sorry, I have a cough. If you look at from the vaccine status, like, and what are we all sussing out about the vaccine? That it's actually got dark matter in it. It's actually got the black goo in it, like the literal darkest substance in the universe, in micro version in these vaccines, which I think must end. I think it must prohibit the charge.
Yeah, well, I mean, it self-replicates, so it could literally be building another circuit. So they're replicating in the body what they've done on the realm, right? They're building another circuit to superimpose over the original one, so they can control it. It's the same plan.
So the more people who have taken the vaccine, they're not able to create this Tartarian Venetian
can't
charge.
Turn the system back on.
So therefore, if they can't create the charge, then they can't participate in that new electrical grid, which is essentially a matter of frequency. Yep. We know we live in a frequency-based realm.
Yep.
So if you can't connect to that frequency, because you can't get that energy connect, you can't spark it, you can't spark the grid within yourself. And that's what we all have to do. I've got a cough, I'm sorry. We got to just speak while I'm coughing.
Gosh, what was I going to say? What were you saying? I lost what I was going to say. The grid. What are we talking about? I've lost it. I'll have to cut this out. What were you saying?
It's my COVID cough.
two grids. Like,
Yeah, like when
um,
when we've taken that black matter, that vaccine, we can't actually sparks charge to create that grid of love.
mm,
When we look at love, our notion of love has been really corrupted. Hello. We think love is what you feel in a relationship.
yep,
We think love is what you feel when you're fucking and fighting.
yep,
But actually, what love really is when you turn and you look into the eyes of a cow, and that cow actually talks to you, and you feel this unconditional love for an animal, or you have a child in your care and you get overwhelmed with this like blissful state of unconditional love. Love is unconditional. That is the state we're trying to get to. I think that is the clearest and cleanest state,
mm,
where you've basically surrendered your whole ego. You've surrendered your whole ego to this idea of unconditional love. That's quite a challenging place for us to get to, because we have been bombarded by conditions. Since the moment we were born, we were created out of conditions.
yeah.
Hardly
Exactly.
any of us know what it even feels like to be in a conditionless state.
To the point, like how many fights and even divorces, you forgot to take me out on my birthday. Where are my roses? You don't give me enough time. Rah, rah, rah. It's all your fault. Yeah, all this pointing, and then, which is of course polarity, right?
Yeah.
Creating this polarity. So this is the thing, we don't actually know what love is, right? I want to know what love.
we got
Um,
we have little flickers of it. We
yeah,
do it in loving a child, we do it in
yeah,
loving animals. But
mm,
essentially that unconditional love in us, it's hard to hold. And
mm,
it's certainly hard to bring up on demand
yep,
and just like focus it in when we're doing, say, like a worldwide transmission or meditation.
mm.
But I feel like there's going to be some support there for us, Cambell. Like something's going to happen that's going to trigger within us all, because I essentially think we are all Venetians. I think anyone who's connected onto the Tartarian community, if you're really there, if you're so there that you just can't, it's impossible now to live without it. Like you are in this consciousness. You can't separate yourself from it. You can't even, it's infuriating to your mind to have conversations less than Tartaria. It's like, what the fucking point? What's the point? Like, we've already gone past it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
If
if you're
you're here,
there.
you are most likely connected to
Mm.
Venus.
And we're not talking about planets either. We're not quite sure what or where it is. We're thinking it's probably a portal to another world, because we're starting to hear a lot about, I mean, we know we're not the only beings here, and we know that the other beings don't come from spinning dusty, dirty balls. So, yeah, and a lot of us know that we're here for, we've got this feeling, and we've always had it, that we're here for a mission. We're here for something. We're here to do something, and maybe this is it.
We're superconductors. We're
Conductors.
superconductors,
We're
whether
super.
we know it or not.
Mm.
We
That's another thing, right? Conductors, which we mentioned, every train and tram in the old world, they had conductors.
yeah.
It's all, and so if you think about that, and a grid, right? A circuit board city with these little trams,
Yep.
with I mean, come on, guys. This is all, it's like it's a like a recreation
Mm-hmm.
of the ether and how things work.
Yep.
We've just recreated it physically.
We have.
And when it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right?
It's true. It's true. We're
Mm,
literally living in a false electrical grid right now. And all these smart cities, all of this smart tech, all of this like QR codes, all of this stuff is a smart city grid
yeah.
that's false and so able to be collapsed. Like it is so vulnerable. It's so vulnerable and weak. Oh my God. One pulse from the sun and it's fucked. Every piece of our technology currently will be fried. There will be no other like working AI technology. And that includes, I'm assuming, the chips that are inside people and the black goo and all
the
of that.
all the mortgage crap, debt bullshit that they invent. And this is the thing, right? As people, like wake up, right? So as people get out of that mindset of polarity and they look around and go, oh, hang on, there's someone, they've just had us fight, and they see that it was polarity. Look what's happening.
Mm.
As we change our energy and we're no longer giving energy to that system, it is collapsing as we watch. It's literally collapsing. And so this is it. The more of us that go over and give our energy to the new grid and stop giving it to that old one, the faster it falls.
Yeah.
And everyone keeps saying, when's it going to be? When's it going to be? It's going to be when we hit that point when enough people are not empowering it anymore, like empowering it, right? All these words, when you're good and strong, you're empowered. EM, right? Electromagnetic power. You're giving off the right frequency.
Empowered, empathetic, empathy. It's all about feelings, the heart.
Yeah, electromagnetic. And of course, the heart, we know, is the biggest electromagnetic generator in the body. It gives off the biggest field. I mean, so it's funny, isn't it? Because we've known most of this information a long time, but we just haven't connected it all up and connected all the dots. And that's really what awakening is, I think. We have all this knowledge, we have all the answers. We've just got to put them together and then bring it into the physical world, right? Bring it into the 3D world so that we get to just live it.
And it's so fascinating, Campbell, because like one of the creation myth stories I've been told about my lifetime, right back to the very first lifetime, I was in a realm. I was an original architect of realms, and I was on my realm, and I was part of a body of 13. Hello, always that number. There was a crime was committed that's the wrong language, but just like something happened where my other created life against the natural order of things, right? Was not their job or position to do this. Created life, that life had no soul, soulless life. And isn't it interesting that the only way you can activate soulless life is to add an electrical charge? Isn't it interesting that the only way bits of metal, bits of fucking like inanimate objects can become activated and alive? You have to add electricity.
Yeah.
But it's a false electrical grid. It's a hijacked electrical grid. All of this technology is not alive. It has no soul, and it has only been powered by a harnessing of electricity. Basically taking the beautiful ether of love and light and illumination, and funneled it into this soulless apparatus. Now, one thing we know about the Tartarian culture is that their ether was powered by life force. It was powered by water and by sound frequencies. It was powered by life itself. The technology and electricity we have today is the opposite. It powers dead things and it creates dead things. And when it emits its frequency, it kills us and everything else.
And this is the thing, right? We know the Archon.
Arc again.
You naughty girl created.
Arc again.
Arc again. Archon,
archetypes.
Archetype, architect. Was created without a soul, right? Dead, basically. Dead entity.
Yeah.
What's the law that they're putting all over us? And what do they keep trying to tell us? That we're dead.
Yeah.
Right. Dead entities. That's
entities.
All corporations are dead.
Yep.
What
Straw man.
Corporations. Death. Dead.
Yeah.
Right. This is it. Like it's all the same, right? It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all just dark and about death, and everything they do is about that. Everything.
Because they are dead.
Because they are dead. They don't know anything else. They can't access the ether, so they've had to make their false, crappy creation and try and convince us that they're gods and that's the real creation.
And they have no empathy, Campbell. They have no empathy. They can like torture and rape and maim and do the worst possible things. There's no empathy there. They cannot connect to that heart grid, meaning they cannot create that third charge. They are not able to create that charge. They cannot connect to the ether. They have to create this polarized dead charge.
Yep. And that's why everything in our society is polarized. It's all about, being good looking and getting, lots of sex, or being macho and killing lots of people, or being the winner, being the best. And there's always a loser, it's everything's polarized, and be this and buy that and do that. And, there's nothing about coming together and acceptance and building things. And, it's all about competition, right? Rather than coming together. Yeah. And that's polarity. That's what they are. And that's what they're stopping us doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought before too, just random. When people get married, right? That's love. What do they? What do you hear when? I mean, not so much now because they stole them all, but it was always bells, right?
Bells. Yeah,
Bing, 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 bing,
absolutely.
bing, bing, bing. Lots
Yep.
of ether, like the
The
right
wedding bells.
frequency, and
Yep.
it's a big celebration of love.
Yep.
Two polarities maybe coming together,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Symbolized by a ring,
Synchronized by a ring,
the
yeah,
sun, the
yeah,
ring, the
the
ring,
sun, yeah, exactly
the
right. It's all,
wholeness.
and of course
The
white is
circle
covered in
can't,
white, the
the
white
circle's
light.
not polarized. The
And even
circle isn't polarized,
no,
Campbell.
no, and the groom's in black, right, and the bride's in white. So that's the polarities again. And what do? They come together
Mm,
at the
mm,
ceremony and
mhm,
then get the
mhm,
ring.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
to combine
mhm.
the two.
Yep.
It's all
Yep.
there, right? We
Yeah.
just
And we're looking at like behind us because we're about to do a podcast with an elder. We have this uprising of our Indigenous right now. And what are the words we keep hearing over and fucking over again? It's unity. It's unity. It's coming together. The children of the rainbow children coming together, unifying, coming together as one, creating that light, that love and light. And we look at Uluru, and today, Campbell, it's the 21st of the 12th, 2021. It is a massive epic solstice day. Whether or not that's the right calendar, because I was talking to JC before, and she was like, "This is the wrong calendar. We might be talking more like the 4th, 5th of January." But like, just say this is our 21st of the 12th, 2021, and we've got this like amazing sovereign up,
yeah,
like
gathering, yeah.
gathering of our Indigenous, and all they're
Central
interested
Australia.
in, all they're interested, because our Indigenous are they are, there's three types of humans. Humans is a loose word. There's three
Beings.
types of beings on the plane right now, and our Indigenous represent the original earthlings, the
Yep.
original beings of earth, which means it is their right to hold the law of the land, because they are the original occupying beings of this realm. Our Indigenous cultures are that. And as we watch them now move towards taking back that position, all of the words they're saying is unify, love, light, rainbow,
Yep.
unify, love, light, rainbow.
Yep.
And
Come together. Yep.
we as the Tartarian Venetians are going to stand by our brothers and sisters, because that's the whole fucking reason we're here. That is the whole fucking reason, to reinstate the right law of the land to the right people.
Yep.
We can go home after that.
Exactly. Yes. So let's do it. That's and of course what's on the original flag, but a big sun. But this is the thing. It's all about uniting and us. Being the way showers, right? We're here to show people what that frequency is, which means in a physical way, we're here to show people just get together, love each other, don't judge. Let's do this. Recognize if there is, anything that's bad or that we don't like, then when we come together and just ignore it and put our energy into what we want, it just goes away. We don't have to fight. We don't have to be polarity. We don't have to buy into the crap anymore. We can just come together and create something new, right?
You're so beautiful, Campbell. You are so, this is so your first lifetime here. Like, you're so unscarred by all the shit, honestly, because I can't talk like that. I can tell you from my perspective that in order for me to get to what Campbell's talking about, basically I have to give up my pride. In the divine masculine element, I have to give up my pride and my ego, and that's fucking hard. And I can fight like hardcore about my pride, and that I'm just being really honest and open about it. Like, if you're the divine masculine, you have got ego issues, and you have got to deal with that tyrannical pride ego that runs through your blood, through ancestral lines. And if you're the divine feminine, like, your polarization is like basically you're a feeler, whereas the divine masculine's a thinker. And if you're a feeler, you go into separation of I'm not good enough, I'm broken, something's wrong with me, oh my God, I'm feeling needy, I'm unlovable. And both of us, from both perspectives, end up we separate from this God connection, this God nature, and that's the pain, and then that's the fight.
Yep.
Right. So it's like one of us has to step down from being a tyrant, very hard. One has to step up from being a victim, very hard. These are hard fucking slogs. And it takes, and ultimately we have to surrender.
Yeah, it's all crap, guys. Just understand it's all just programming. It's all crap. But I mean, you know, it might be easy for me to say as well. But this is really what it is. It's just letting go of all and understanding it's all program, right? They've spent so much time convincing you that you are, you know, polarized and that their world is real and their creation, and you have to fight and step on people to make, you know, for you to get something good, someone else has to lose it and all this kind of stuff, and the ether doesn't exist. And you know, yeah, all I can say is drop it. I don't really, this is the thing, I don't know how you do that. I think it's just a lot of time and just going over it, reviewing your past, have a look at it again and go, oh, maybe I got that wrong. You know, maybe I was just a kid and I only knew what I knew, and that guy was a real dickhead telling me that. You know, and just because it's all, you know, stripping away, right? Getting rid of the crap so that you can shine your light, pull all the lampshades off and towels people have thrown over it. And
I mean, ultimately, like, I talk of the male and the female in a polarized state because we live in that realm, but that's within us as well. Like, we're all the masculine and we're all the feminine, maybe not so much in Cambell, but he's an abnormality that is beautiful for the Tartarian consciousness. And but I'm not. I'm gritty pirate, and and so for me, like, I have to surrender because my dominant nature is in the masculine. I have to surrender to the heart of the feminine, and in doing that, the feminine surrenders to the thinker in the masculine. So, like, there's such a beautiful relationship within our own self. Like, it's like, what's the fucking point of holding on to it anymore? Like, we're so close. We're so fucking close to, like, getting through this experience that really, is there anything in our egos that we even give a shit about anymore? Like, is there anything left that you actually care about, that you're willing to fight about? Like, there is stuff you'll find to be triggered by other people, but like, ultimately, once you've had a chance to think about it, like, and there's fucking nothing left. Like, give it up, man.
all there is the future and creating something new. Like, it's, you know, you know, if you're still in the old world, well, you're probably not watching this, but this is the thing. The only thing that's holding people back at this point is this fear that you know, they need the system, right? They need their job because they so much believe that you know, you need money to get a house or you need money to get food. That's not true. Food grows on trees. And like, food just grows everywhere. It's the most abundant thing that you can find. It's everywhere. You can build houses, right? So they've got us believing all this stuff, and people are like, well, if I do this, how am I going to live? How am I going to feed people? Well, better. You know, anything than what we've got now is better, as in my opinion, because it's all just a lie made for dead people. You know, to try and make you think you're dead, you're divided, you're split up, and to put your light out. That's all it is, right? And this is the whole journey is about shining that light again and getting to that point where you're there.
And what do we do with batteries when they're dead? We chuck them out. We chuck out dead batteries. That's what they do to us. When we are dead and we've given all of our life energy to them, they just chuck us out. They discard us. They send us to war. They sacrifice us in all sorts of manner of ways. We're discardable, chucked out batteries. You know, like, terrible analogy there, but that's what actually happens on this realm.
Yeah, they do. Because, you know, they know that we'll go into the sun, get rejuvenated and get born again. They'll reuse this again, right? That's just so Matrix, isn't it?
Even like, even green tech. Even green tech, like, you know, what the fuck? Like, they reckon that having a solar panel on our house is like amazing technology, all based on batteries. Once again, all of our technology is based on this, like, AI false electrical grid. All of it, fucking all of it.
It's not eternal. It's not flowing. You have to store it somewhere. It's finite, right? So that's the, you know, and it's got no intelligence, right? It's dead. Like, universal energy has intelligence in it. You know, this is the difference. Like, imagine having intelligent energy running your phone. you know, and it's sitting there and someone tries to get in. It's like, you can't come in here, you know, you'd have your natural bloody defenses in there, because, you know, that's the difference. We're literally using dead, stale energy, and we know it's bad for us. You know, it makes people feel bad. So,
and Mecca, how's Mecca? It's just a big black box that people
yeah,
circle around, like create this like Taurus field, this battery source, again, a battery source. It's just like, oh man, when you start looking at the fact that all they've done is turned everything into batteries, everything into batteries to store electricity, because it's not life-giving. They actually have to hoard it and hold it in order for them to have enough of it, which is where the adrenochrome came in, and all the child trafficking and all that stuff. It's like they can't, it has to generate itself and be stored by them, because it's false and fake and evil and dark.
Yeah, it's got
void
nothing
of
to do with
life
creation at all.
Yeah.
Like we should be living here like everything's abundant. If we want something, we just create it. Of course. Why wouldn't you? But they've got us believing no, everything's finite, and you got to pay for stuff, and if you use something, it'll be gone, and you know, just the wrong concepts. And of course, because we believe that, we create that. You know, so through that's the funny thing, right? So through not getting what we want, we actually prove that we're creators. Oh, look, I just created what I didn't want. How cool. We just need to create what we do want. So that's the thing, right? 2 grids, guys. Love is the energy that we need to be going in. It's we're saying that it's the frequency that powered Tartaria. It's the frequency that is powering the Tartarian consciousness. And so it's the frequency that we need to build and promote. And through that, we can activate the original grid system of Gaia and get rid of this crap.
And hand it back to our indigenous, the original owners of this plane, this realm, the original law keepers, to protect it and regenerate it for all time forward. And we can go home to our Venus realm and fucking have all of our memories activated and back online, and our health rejuvenated and returned, and can go and see our families again after all this fucking time, because they're waiting for us. They're cheering us on, guys. Don't think they're not aware of what's going on. So Cambell, I just think it's an amazing conversation to start talking about electricity as if it is love, and if that is a thing that powers this whole activation. I think that's really powerful. A lot of, like, I never hear electricity be put into those contexts, and it's so such a good connection and leap to Tartaria. We are interviewing Martin Letke tonight. We fucking can't fucking wait. And I'm just ruined the surprise, but we will run this theory through his beautiful, big, amazing, imaginative, hyper awesome Venus mind that he has, and keep talking about this, because I just think that we're onto something really significant here. And it's definitely time to open this consciousness up around electricity and how important it is for today and the ascension timeline.
Indeed. And here we are, 2022 almost. So we've had our perfect vision, 2020, 2021. God, what was that? That was just madness. And you know, we've sat down, we've learned, we've grown, we've got all this new information. And so 2022, guys, it's the year for action. That's the year to go forward and put it all in action and start building and creating, manifesting even the
Venus
new Earth.
Coming back. And that new Earth, Venus is coming back.
Venus.
The realm of love, the realm of love and ether and electricity, and Tartaria.
Exactly right.
Is back. ... I can't wait to see that movie in the cinemas. The real story of Venus.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
All right, my darling ones, you've been amazing, and I hope you enjoyed that little ramble. I'm glad we managed to capture it, Cambell, because
Yep. Totally impromptu. We just thought we'd record for a bit for you guys. Throw it out there. Let us know what you think, guys. Of course, give us a like, share this video around, get it out to other Tartarian conscious-minded people. Let's build the groups, build the network,
build the grid,
and then we will empower it.
Yeah, because I don't think you build this grid through spirituality. I think it's through Tartarian consciousness. The real third electrical source is coming here through Tartarian consciousness,
Yep.
not through all the confusion of the new age. It's
No.
coming from here. So fucking A, guys, like let's spread the word.
Yep. We are in the right place. We're going to create miracles.
All right, we'll catch you later.
We
Catch you later,
will.
Tartarian hunters.
Well, see ya.
Все вы думы знаете, все вы думы помните, до чего ж вы, де мое сердце, этим и огорчаете, до чего ж вы, де мое сердце, этим и огорчаете. Позову я голубя, позову я сизова, пошлю де роличике письмо.